Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Wisdom Save Podcast. I'm your host and Dungeon Master Sam, and today we are going to be talking about our very first Monster of the Week episode. So grab some dice, grab your rolling tray, and let's roll initiative. Okay, so today marks a special day. This is our very first episode of our Monster of the Week series. Like I said on Friday, this is going to be a series where we take a deep dive into every single monster. That's right, you heard me. Every single monster in the Monster Manual, the 2014 Monster Manual, and go monster by monster and talk about them. We're going to cover lore. We're going to cover history. We're going to cover tactics for DMs and players. And this is something that I'm excited about. We're going to be covering homebrew that I've made to further enhance this monster. So let's get started. Okay, so we're going to start today with the Aarakocra. Now, the Aarakocra is a bird. it's just a bird. No, it's if you guys watched the D&D movie, what was his name? Jeremy, Chris Pine's character is saying, "Oh, we gotta wait for this one guy." That bird winged thing. That's an Aarakocra. But yeah, let's take a look. I'm on just D&D Beyond right now, and we're just gonna read through this bad boy. All right, the Aarakocra. The Aarakocra range the howling Gyr, an endless storm of mighty winds and lashing rains that surrounds the tranquil realm of Aqua in the elemental plane of air. Making aerial patrols, these bird-like humanoids guard the windy borders of their home against invaders from the elemental plane of Earth, such as gargoyles and their sworn enemies. Enemies of elemental evil. In service to the Wind Dukes of Aqua, Aarakocra scouts the plains in search of temples of elemental evil. They spy on malign elemental creatures and then either take the fight to those creatures or report back to Wind Dukes. On the material plane, Aarakocra create Aries, I don't know how that, groups atop the highest mountains, especially peaks near portals to the elemental plane of air. From such heights, Aarakocra watch for signs of elemental incursions as well for their nascent threats to their home plane. Aarakocra prefer to live their lives like the wind, unburdened and ever moving. Yet they watch over a region for years, if that's what it takes to guard against the incursions of elemental evil. Aarakocra have no concept of political borders or property ownership, and the value of gems, gold, and other precious materials means little to Aarakocra. In their eyes, a creature should use what is necessary, and then cast what is left on the wind for others to use. All right, let's stop there. That's the gist of Aarakocra. They're bird people. Typically, if you see these, if you see players play these, they're usually monks or rangers. In fact, we're in a campaign right now where my friend is actually playing an Aarakocra ranger. He's super awesome. But I just love this idea of these almost like when I picture it that where the Aarakocra live, I'm thinking up top, way above the clouds, and these big mountainous spires with this winding road that goes all the way up to like a temple. Maybe even there's no road where they can fly. And apiary, not apiary, that's the wrong word. Anyway, there's these large nests up there where these scouts are making patrol. Where up top in a temple you have the shaman who's just trying to get in touch with the elemental plane of air. I think that is just a really, really cool vibe that these Aarakocra give off. And they have already some pretty built-in story beats and with their enemies and gargoyles. But let's keep going because there's something really, really interesting at the bottom here. Okay, search for the 7 shards. This is where it gets interesting. The Wind Dukes of Aqua come from a race of elemental beings called the Vate, which once ruled many worlds. A creature known as the Queen of Chaos arose and initiated an interplanar war against the Vate rule. To combat this threat, 7 Vate heroes combined their powers to create the mighty Rod of Law. In a battle against the queen's greatest general, Mishka the wolf spider, Avati killed Mishka by thrusting the rod into him like a spear. The rod then shattered into 7 shards that scattered across the multiverse. Aarakocra seeks signs of these pieces' location in order to rebuild what is now known as the Rod of 7 Parts. That's right. Is it a coincidence that our very first monster is the Aarakocra, and that just not long ago the Vecna Eve of Ruin book came out? No. Okay, I'm going to pause right here. We're going to talk a little bit of spoilers about Vecna Eve of Ruin. So if you are planning on playing that game, if you're any of my players, stop. Go away. Go. No. I want to talk about this because this is pinnacle to, I think, how you could use these Aarakocra. So I'm going to give you one last chance. Leave or be spoiled. 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, right. So the Rod of 7 Parts and Mishka the Wolf Spider are both featured in Vecna Eve of Ruin. In fact, Vecna Eve of Ruin is essentially a massive fetch quest for this Rod of 7 Parts. And whether you like the book or not, there is now an opportunity to throw in this amazing, or even substitute one of the chapters out for an awesome trip to the element of air. Or maybe you have the Aarakocra almost act opposed to the players. The players want to get the Rod of 7 Parts to stop Vecna or do whatever they're going to do, but the Aarakocra want it for themselves. Not for evil purposes, but that kind of like mystic power must be preserved. Think kind of Doctor Strange-y type of vibes, where the Aarakocra want to get the rod first to rebuild it and essentially take it back to its rightful home, right where it was kind of created. So I think that can be some really interesting gameplay with that. But let's go on. I think we'll come back to this in a second. The Aarakocra have a really interesting ability, and this is an ability that isn't just like, not just one Aarakocra can do this, but they have this cool thing where if 5 Aarakocra are within 30 feet of each other, they can basically do a summoning ritual, and summon an air elemental. Now, I don't think this is actually super useful in combat, because what it takes, each 5 must use its action and movement on 3 consecutive turns to perform a dance, and basically then you just summon it. It's cool in flavor, but I don't think this is super useful, because when you can have just 5 Aarakocra sitting around for 3 rounds to summon an air elemental, I think we can do better, and we might do better. We'll have to wait and see. But let's walk through their stat block. Aarakocra, medium, humanoid, neutral good. Their armor class is 12. They have 13 hit points. That's 3d8 hit points, or hit die, whatever you want to call it. They have a fly speed of 50 feet and a walking speed of 20. Their stats are strength 10 with the plus 0, dex is 14 with the plus 2, con is 10 with the plus 0, and intelligence is an 11 with the plus 0, wisdom 12 plus 1, charisma 11 plus 0. So pretty just basic, nothing kind of crazy going on here. They have a plus 5 to their perception, with a passive perception of 15. Languages, Arulian, Aarakocra, challenge rating 1/4. These are super easy. I don't imagine these guys being all that difficult for even low level parties. If assuming there's more than 3 of you guys, I think I could probably throw 8 of these at my level 3 party, and they would be totally fine just knocking them out. But they do have an interesting combat mechanic. They have this thing called dive attack. Sorry if you guys can't see that. I'm actually moving this over here. Dive attack. If the Aarakocra is flying and dives at least 30 feet straight towards the target, and then hits it with a melee weapon attack, the attack deals an extra 3 or 1d6 damage to the target. Okay, so it has some pretty basic action. It has its talons, melee attack, plus 4 to hit, 5 for each, 1 target, hits with 4 damage, 1d4 plus 2 slashing, whatever. Javelin, melee or range weapon attack, right? Again, plus 4 to hit, 5 for each, all that kind of good stuff, 1d6 plus 2 piercing damage. The Aarakocra by itself is fine. I think it has some really cool flavor. I think it has some really cool usage. I think it has some really cool narrative usage. in a book like Vecna Eve of Ruin, where the players are going after this almost Aarakocra artifact. I think that could be really interesting. As far as tactics, it has a fly speed. Okay, so Dungeon Masters, it can fly. It has 50 feet of fly. How many low-level characters, because let's be real, this is going to be the target audience for a monster like this. How many low-level parties have access to things that can help them deal with flying creatures? Not many. Range attacks, that's basically it. I think if you have at least one or more paladins, this is going to be kind of difficult, especially with that dive attack, adding that extra 1d6 damage to that attack. But I think overall, the Aarakocra has some really cool flavor. I love the aesthetic. Winged Birdman is super cool. And as a playable race, they're really, really fun to play. But yeah, players have ranged options. Paladin, I guess you cast Hold Person. I don't know. You have to figure that one out. But this Aarakocra is going to be flying around you, swooping down from the sky, dealing extra damage, then leaving. Now, when it swoops down, Paladins, Barbarians, those who don't have ranged attacks, hit it good. Make that hit count. Smite, Reckless Attack, Frenzy, whatever you have to do. Make that attack land. They only have 13 hit points with a low armor class. Even a level 1 or level 2 Paladin could have no problem taking this out. So DMs, use the dive attack, use it well, but know that when your Aarakocra makes that dive attack, that is the time for you to strike literally. But this is cool. I like it. So now we're gonna take this Aarakocra and we're gonna change it a little bit. Not change it. We're gonna expand on it. One thing that I'm gonna rephrase. One thing that one problem I have with D&D, it's a minor thing, but it is what it is. There's always a lot of these cool monsters that have cool flavors. They look really cool. Their stat blocks can be fun, but they're really only good for one encounter in a campaign at low levels. I'm looking at the Aarakocra. I'm thinking there's some little, like zombies, skeletons. I mean, there are some other variations of these monsters at higher levels to kind of give some more variety, but for the most part, you're gonna be fighting the Aarakocra one time. You're not going to be re-encountering them as often as you would, say, other monsters. And I think this is something that they plan on changing. I don't remember. I have to look back. But I'm talking about monster families, where you can have the basic Aarakocra on this side, challenge rating 1/4, 1/4, and then have different challenge ratings for these monsters. An Aarakocra of CR 3, 6, 12, 15. What does a CR 20 Aarakocra look like? Well, that is what I want to do with you guys today. I actually have several homebrew stat blocks for exactly that. And that is exactly what this segment is going to be about. We're going to be taking these monsters from the monster manual, like I said, looking at them, checking them out, and then making them better, making them cooler, in my opinion. So let's dive into this. By the way, I made these in home brewery. You can either go check out my Reddit page that will have the screenshots of them there. You can go on YouTube, take screenshots of these guys here. But if you want access to either the home brewery file, so you can make edits of your own, or the PDF document, go over and visit my Patreon. We have a lot of awesome options for you guys to just really be a part of this podcast and contribute. And by doing so, we will give you access to some of these kind of behind-the-scene files. You'll get early access to these podcasts. You'll get a say in polls for the topics we cover. And then, obviously, all PDF copies and the homebrewery links for all of my homebrew stuff. So if you want to do that, go check it out. It's in the show notes below. But let's go ahead and get to the fun stuff. So let's talk about... We're going to start small here. The Aarakocra Scout. Let's see if I can make this kind of bigger. Hey there, adventurers. Need some new dice to roll those critical hits or avoid those devastating fails? Look no further than our friends at Easy Roller Dice. They've got a fantastic selection of high-quality dice sets, perfect for any tabletop game. Whether you're a seasoned dungeon master or just starting out with your first campaign, Easy Roller Dice has everything you need to bring your game to the next level. From stunning metal dice to beautifully crafted resin sets, there's truly something for everyone. And here's the best part. We've teamed up with Easy Roller Dice to give you an exclusive discount. Just use the code WisdomSavePodcast at checkout and you'll get 20% off your entire order. It is a one-time use code, so make sure you grab those dice you've been eyeing. Plus, by using our code, you're not only saving money, but you're also supporting us at the podcast. We get a kickback from every purchase, which helps us continue bringing you awesome content and epic adventures. So don't miss out. Head over to Easy Roller Dice, pick out your favorite dice, and use code WisdomSavePodcast at checkout for 20% off. Trust me, your dice bag will thank you. Sorry if you guys listening, I'm pulling up my stat block. So again, if you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, go ahead when you're done. If you're driving, don't do this. And go check out my Reddit page. I'll link that down below for the screenshots of these guys, or go watch the YouTube video. But we're gonna start with the Aarakocra Scout. So this is the typical Scout. This is your rogue. This is I'm picturing the Aarakocra stat block we talked about just before is like the grunt, the basic dude, the thug, throwaway monster essentially. This is the guy who goes out before. A bit higher level, and has kind of more of this almost ranger-esque vibe, but most actually more rogue than ranger. The next guy's ranger. But let's go ahead and take a look at him. So Aarakocra Scout, his armor class is 14. He has 52 hit points, 88 plus 16, and his flying walking speed are the same. This is a challenge rating 3, so keep that in mind as we walk through this. He has a 14 in strength with a plus 2. Dex 18 plus 4, Con is a 14 plus 2, Intelligence is a 12 plus 1, Wisdom is a 16 plus 3, and Charisma is a 12 plus 1. So overall, everything's just gotten beefier with especially his Dex, because that's what he relies on the most. Skills, I mean, he's a scout. He has to have really good perception and good stealth. So we give him a plus 7 in perception and a plus 8 in stealth. With his passive perception being a whopping 17. Like, you are not creeping up on this dude. He will find you. He will know you're there. And you're not surprising him. So overall, really cool theme. The Scout, all these Aarakocra are going to keep the same dive attack across all of the ones we're going to talk about, because I just think that's really cool. You could change the damage from 1d6 to 2d6 and scale it up. I left it the same because you still get plenty of opportunities to do it. And he's still going to hit with a melee attack, and that melee attack is still going to do more damage because of the higher level and the higher stats. So it's still going to hurt more, and then you just throw in the nice 1d6 or 3 damage. Never hurts. Keen Sight, the Aarakocra Scout has advantage on Wisdom perception checks that rely on sight. And then he has the Swift Flight. So the Aarakocra Scout can take the Disengage or Hide action as a bonus action on each of its turns. So think Rogue or Nimble Escape for Goblins. The Aarakocra Scout is really good at going in, poking, disengaging, and flying away. And what's cool about this is that you can now do this. This works with your dive attack. You're flying up in the sky. You dive down, poke, bonus action, disengage, fly back up. Game changer. Whereas before, I mean, to be fair, you're still going to get an attack of opportunity. So again, here's the tips and tricks for players. Players, take your attack of opportunity. If he doesn't disengage. But otherwise, this guy he's just flying around poking you, and it's going to be annoying, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So the actions, multi-attack. The Scout makes 3 attacks with its talons or its daggers. So it's a plus 11 to hit with its talons. It does 12, 1d6 plus 6 slashing. Dagger is a plus 6 to hit. And it's a 1d4 plus 4 piercing. So that's 3 attacks. That's considerable. That's 3d6 plus 12 plus 18. My brain can't math. So I think that combined with the dive attack, and I will leave this up into an interpretation. The dive attack, it says it hits with a melee weapon attack. It's technically singular. DMs, I'm gonna leave this up to you. I think it's kind of fun to challenge your players and be like, hey, this Aarakocra is gonna dive at you. It's gonna make 3 attacks with its talons at you, and then it's dipping. It's going to disengage and right up to the sky. I think that gives some really cool gameplay and gives the players some strategy. I think there's so many DMs, and I'm like this, and I was like this a lot when I first started DMing. And I get scared to throw things at players, and we don't need to be scared at that. We want, our goal as DMs is to challenge the players. The players will always figure it out, and it's way more rewarding for us to be like, hey, here's a situation, here's a problem, figure it out. And when they do, when the die roll is a nat 20, it just feels so much better than if we had intervened or somehow made the experience less. That's also why I have backup characters. Just wise word. So overall, the Aarakocra Scout is pretty basic, aside from the multi-attack and all the other cool things it has. But it just gets so much better, guys. I love these a lot. I cannot wait to put these in my own game. Aarakocra Hunter is our next one. So this is the true ranger archetype, or even like kind of paladin-esque. So armor class 16, it has 27 hit points. So that is 68 hit dice. Notice his hit die is lower than the scout. That's intentional. The scout is dodgy. He's trying to move out and around. He's trying to hide. I imagine his ability to kind of move and escape is kind of built into that hit point. So that's why he gets the higher hit points there. And the hunter has some really cool abilities. I was a little bit afraid of giving him more HP. Again, you're more than welcome to do it, but he hits pretty hard. And so I wanted this to be an opportunity for players to feel like, oh, he hits really hard, but he doesn't have that much HP. So as long as we don't let him get a Nova round, we're okay. That's how I think I would handle this guy. But let's read through him. He has a strength of 16, so plus 3. Dex is a 20 plus 5. Con 16 plus 3. Intelligence 14 plus 2. Wisdom 18 plus 4. And charisma 14 plus 2. His perception is a plus 8 with a passive perception of 14. He speaks the same languages, and he's a challenge rating 6. Again, we keep that same dive attack across the board. Nothing changes. So you can fly straight towards the target, hit with a melee weapon attack, and you can deal extra damage. Innate spellcasting. This is the cool part. The Aarakocra Hunter's spellcasting ability is Wisdom. Spell save is 15. The Aarakocra Hunter can cast the following spells requiring only verbal components. So no material components, no somatic, just verbal. At will, Hunter's Mark, Gust, and Featherfall. And then once per day, they can cast Misty Step or Hold Person. Or Misty Step and Hold Person. Each of those is one per day. So this is the true Aarakocra Hunter that is flying, can mark a prey as with Hunter's Mark, and then do battle against that. It gets to that extra, like 1d6 damage on top of its dive attack, but you choose to do that and make its normal attacks. I think this is gonna be really cool. I love that idea of almost. I'm thinking like Paladin, right, where you can like cast Hold Person, and it's the person that goes and hunts for their prey. I love that, and the fact that these spells are at will, essentially cantrips, I think are really powerful. That basically means that this Aarakocra Hunter is always ready for a hunt, for a fight. It's never without some type of ability. And Misty Step is great. It has that disengage ability. Actually, no, they don't have the disengage ability. Look at that. So no, they're going to have to walk away. Oh, I forgot about that. That's amazing. Okay, great. So Misty Step will be important. But as its actions, I think, like I said, are the same. Plus 8 to hit. It just does more damage because it does have higher stats. But I like this one a lot because this gives, if you throw the scout at them, at your players, and then follow with the hunter, kind of build the hunter, but you have this bigger guy, they're gonna be really scared. And he does hit harder, and with these spells are really great. But this is the real kind of control guy. He's here, and with the scout, there's one of them. I wouldn't say in a party you have one scout, like a party of Aarakocra, not a player character party, but like a party of NPCs or monsters. You have one. Hunters, I think you'd have several. I think you'd have, in like a hunting party, about 4 and a scout. So if you think a scout and a plus 4 with you guys, that's a solid group of baddies. So that's the scout and the hunter, but let's keep going because there's more. We have the Aarakocra Shaman. I kind of alluded to this earlier, but this Shaman is pretty dope. He's a challenge rating 12, armor class 16, 189 hit points. That's 68 hit die. The flying speed is the same, walking speed is the same. His stats have been increased a lot. He has an 18 strength with a +4. Dex is a 22 +6. His con is a 22 +6. His int is a 16 +3. His wisdom is a 20 +5. His charisma is a 16 +3. He has a +10 to perception, a +8 to arcana, and a +10 to religion. He has proficiency in saving throws with a +11 in dex and a +10 in wisdom, and a passive perception of 20. He speaks all the same languages, but we're throwing in common. And then challenge rating 12. Again, keeps the same dive attack. I don't see this being all that particularly useful with a shaman, but it's there. I think it helps retain the identity of the Aarakocra, so we just kind of left it in there. But this is the juicy stuff. This Aarakocra shaman is a 10th level spellcaster, and this is where the spell is coupled with the high hit points really comes into play. So its spellcasting ability is wisdom. Its spell save is 18, and with a +10 to hit with its spell attacks. And it has the following spells prepared. So cantrips, let's go through this. Gust, Thaumaturgy, Guidance, Resistance. Pretty solid. Guidance is great. Gust, I think, is going to be kind of where it's at, which with some of that battlefield control. First level, you get 4 slots: Fog Cloud, Thunder Wave, Cure Wounds, Detect Magic. I think Cure Wounds and Fog Cloud are going to be clutch there. At second level, we get 3 slots: Gust of Wind, Shatter, Hold Person, and Lesser Restoration. Third level, we get 3 slots: Call Lightning, Wind Wall, Dispel Magic, and Haste. Haste, guys. I think that just imagine casting Haste on one of the hunters or one of the scout and giving it the extra movement speed and giving it that extra attack. I think that's amazing. Fourth level gets 3 slots: Freedom of Movement, Ice Storm, Control Water, and fifth level 2 slots: Control Wind and Maelstrom. So this shaman is yeah, he's a spellcaster. He is going to be all support. He's going to be that kind of battlefield control, and I think he's going to really pose an issue for some players, especially if he's backed by the hunters and the scout. He gets if he decides to not cast a spell for whatever reason, he can also make 3 attacks with his talents or his storm spear. That's right, he gets a cool weapon. So his talents, again, it's pretty basic. +12 to hit. On a hit, it's 1d6 +6 slashing damage. It's fine. Storm spear is the cool part. It's a melee or ranged weapon, so he can throw this. +11 to hit, reach 5 feet. On a hit, it does 1d8 +6 piercing damage. I think that's just really cool. And you could even further use. I would say, I didn't write this in here, but I would totally say, yeah, his Storm Spear is his spellcasting focus. Like, his spells come from his Storm Spear. In fact, you can even take it a step further and say his Storm Spear allows him 1 free casting of a first level spell. That kind of thing. I don't know. What do you want to do? I think there's some really cool play in that, guys. And again, this is all homebrew, so take this and run with it. Take it apart. Do what you want. This is just really here to serve you guys better. So this is the Aarakocra Shaman. He's an awesome spellcaster. Let's move to the last one. We are slowly running out of time. We have the Aarakocra Commander. That's right. It's a big, thick stat block. Yes, you see legendary actions. We'll get to that. The Aarakocra Commander. This is a challenge rating 20. And actually, I posted this out on Reddit, and I asked you guys, hey, what do you think this challenge rating should be? I think I had it at 16, and the community pretty much all said this should be challenge rating 20. The sheer amount of damage that this thing can put out and control that this thing has easily puts it in top tier. Yeah, you had one commenter say, is this a commander or is this a hero? This should be a named hero, and I probably agree. I don't know any named heroes for Aarakocra, so I look like commander. So you guys, again, take this and make it your own. But let's get into it. Armor class 18. It has a whopping 276 hit points. That's 24d8 plus 144 HP. This is the only Aarakocra that has that's faster. It has a flying speed of 100 feet and a walking speed of 40. Its stats are 22 in strength with a +6. Dex is a 24 +7. Con is a 22 +6. Intelligence is an 18 +4. Wisdom is a 20 +5. And Charisma is an 18 +4. Its skills are Perception +13, +14 in Stealth, a +12 in Athletics, a +13 in Survival. Saving throws, plus 14 in dex, plus 12 in wisdom, plus 11 in charisma, with a passive perception of 23. Again, it speaks all the same languages in common. We're keeping the same dive attack. All right, let's get to the juicy stuff. Keen sight. Aarakocra Commander has advantage on perception checks that rely on sight, obviously. Commander Strike. I think this is the really cool ability that gives it some unique play. The Aarakocra Commander can use a bonus action to command one of its allies within 30 feet that can see and hear it to move up to its movement and make one weapon attack. This is really cool. This is similar to that Battle Master maneuver where you can let someone else make an attack. This is kind of the same vibe. I was toying with the idea of letting them take their a free action. I think that was a bit too powerful, given the fact that a lot of these other Aarakocra get 3 attacks or to cast a free spell. That was a bit too much. Really cool, bit too much for me. But that's an awesome ability he gets to just say, hey, you, attack, and that hunter attacks. I think it's really cool. Tactical Retreat is another cool one. The Aarakocra Commander and its allies within 30 feet, aura, or I forget the new term for it. It's not called aura, it's called something else. Any allies within 30 feet of it can use the disengage action as a bonus action on each of their turns. Okay, this is pretty great. So in the same way the scout can do that just on its own, if the hunter is nearby or the shaman is nearby within 30 feet of this commander, they can also just take bonus action disengage. That means for DMs, if you're running this as a group, like a group of Aarakocra, and the commander's up against people, have your hunters dive down, attack with their melee attacks, and then they can leave with their bonus action because they're within 30 feet of their commander. That's pretty cool. That also gives the commander some strategic battlefield positioning for that. So it can give that, and then you can also do that bonus action commander strike ability. Keep in mind, though, the tactical retreat is an aura that's ongoing. That doesn't... so if the Aarakocra Commander wanted to use that ability and disengage as a bonus action, it could not use its Commander Strike. So just know that you can get traffic jammed there a little bit. So be tactical DMs when you're running this and know what ability you'd like to use. Let's keep going. Unyielding Wind. The Aarakocra Commander has advantage on saving throws against being knocked prone or restrained. Amazing. Just, this guy's a tank. You're not knocking him down. You're not grappling him. He is a big boy. It's going to come down to just sheer determination and power of the sword, honestly. Okay, actions. Multi-attack. The commander makes 5 attacks. Yep, that's right. 5 attacks with its talons or lightning glaive. So talons, plus 15 to hit, 15 damage, 1d6 plus 9. Lightning glaive, this is the cool one. Melee weapon attack plus 15 to hit. On a hit, it's 19, 2d8 plus 9 slashing damage, plus 9 or 2d8 lightning damage. That might not sound like a lot of damage for one attack. It gets 5 attacks. So think about that over the course of 5 attacks. That's just its action. Then it can also still bonus action that costs someone else to attack or give that battlefield control. That's really awesome. It can do that multi-attack, or it can take its whirlwind attack, which recharges on the 5 or 6. The Aarakocra Commander spins rapidly, creating a whirlwind. Each creature within 10 feet of the Aarakocra Commander must make a DC 19 dexterity saving throw, or take 45, that's 10d8, bludgeoning damage on a failed save, or half as much on a successful one. Unless you're a rogue with evasion, you get nothing. The area then becomes difficult terrain until the start of the Aarakocra Commander's next turn. So this is an awesome opportunity. And again, this is it's either you take your multi-attack action or you do that. You can't do both. This is another awesome option to give some more battlefield control to your monsters and really just challenge your players like we talked about before. Let's keep going. This has legendary actions because, yeah, it's a CR20. It's a big boy. Let's give it some legendary actions. It has 3 legendary actions it can take from the options below. Only 1 legendary action can be used at a time and only at the end of another creature's turn. Then the Aarakocra Commander regains spent legendary action to the start of its turn. So it can just make it, at the end of, as a legendary action, it can just make 1 talent attack, right? It's not great. It's not huge. It's something. It's that kind of like whittling them down one by one. It can use the commander's command. The Aarakocra can cost 2 actions. It can basically use the commander strike ability, which is what we talked about. It's that bonus action. Hey, you go attack. Amazing. That frees up his bonus action to disengage if he wanted to. So if you wanted to just reliably every turn use that on someone else's turn, position your hunter or your scout in a spot, he attacks, does his thing, hits it again. I think that works really well. Then this ability at the bottom, it costs 3 actions. Wing buffed. My English is horrible, even though it's my first language. It costs 3 actions. The Aarakocra commander beats its wings forcefully. Each creature within 10 feet of the Aarakocra must succeed on a DC 23 saving throw or be pushed away 20 feet and knocked prone. So its legendary actions are pretty legendary. I think that overall this commander has some really awesome opportunities to really do some damage. And I think overall, this as I was coming up with this stuff, I love synergy. And I think what ended up happening was all of these guys kind of synergized together, and I was thinking through, what would it be like? Throw out my players, a scout, 4 hunters, a shaman, and a commander. That would be a pretty difficult encounter. I think that could give the players some really awesome opportunity. I mean, again, they're high enough level. The little dudes aren't going to matter as much, but if you have a big boss like this commander and a lot of good minions, throw in more Aarakocra hunters, more scouts, this could be a pretty challenging encounter. If you think he makes all five let's just say he makes all 5 of his attacks with his lightning glaive. That's his action. Then he's within that tactical retreat. He can bonus action get out of there. And still within that 30 feet cause other people to do the same. So maybe he disengages a little bit. Then you have your other Aarakocra swooping in, diving, all of those things. And if they're within 30 feet of him, they can also bonus action disengage. Then on his turn, he can say, hey, you, attack. And if, let's say, when the hunter swoops down and is not in range, doesn't disengage, swoops down, makes his attack, he can make another attack against the players. I think this is some really cool stuff that I like a lot. But anyway, that's all I have for these Aarakocras, guys. Again, if you want access to the PDFs or the homebrewery, go check out my Patreon. I'll leave the link down below. Otherwise, feel free to go on YouTube, take screenshots. I'll post a link to my Reddit page. You can also go there, take screenshots, download the pictures. I'll post everything there. I do truly want all of these resources to be free to you guys in this form. So I want you guys to be able to take this and use it. But if you'd like to support us further here at Wisdom Say Podcast, then I would greatly appreciate it. But yeah, that is pretty much all I have for you guys today. I'm really excited about this a new segment, this Monster of the Week. I think next week we're going to be talking about aboleths. Oh, so cool. Little weird like fish, squid people. Yeah. Anyway, guys, if you guys enjoyed this podcast, go ahead and hit us a follow, leave us a download, hit like, comment, subscribe, all those things, bell notifications. You guys know what to do. I guess it helps the algorithms and stuff. So if you guys could do that, that'd be great. And with that, yeah, guys, we will catch you on Friday for the next episode of Critical Conversations. Guys, this has been Sam, your Dungeon Master, Wisdom Say Podcast. Good night.